So it's almost like they're playing a very dangerous game, which is trying to sort of basically appease the legacy holders of the real estate market as it is, while kind of simultaneously allowing this sense of like almost disenfranchisement to brew amongst the population, almost as a precursor to some further exploit that they want to mobilize. And we've talked about the squatter nation possibility, where what happens basically in a hyper mobilized AI generative future, where what are all these people going to do? We basically, this is the whole like Yuval Harari line of transhumanism, which is, well, if we have all these advancements that outmode human labor and human input in growth and wealth generation, then how are we going to appease the loss of basically human labor in the future? And his whole solution is, drugs and video games. And I'm just kind of like, that's supposed to be like this kind of secular humanist technocrat solution.
It's literally it's literally like he just watched Idiocracy and took a note.
Wall-E,
right? Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, that's supposed to be humane, but at the same time, whatever did we do with all these top-down technotronic surveillification superstate devices and innovations? Where are the other innovations?
Right. That's
where
what
are the other ones, right?
That's what I was getting to, is like, we're going to see our ability to watch a screen evolve tremendously in its accessibility, and but that's like the one thing, that's like actually one of the only areas of the economic scenario where quality has gone up and cost has come down,
right?
Because you can get these ridiculous flat screen TVs for $300 or $400. I mean, I have several. We're looking at a couple of them right now,
right? Which
that screen you're looking at right now would have been beyond top of the line of what was available like 20 years ago. And what was available 20 years ago, only a very select few could afford. It was $20,000+ for something that big with far less fidelity, is what I'm getting to.
And still thicker, right?
Right, and still thicker. And
heavier.
And this is actually a good segue to, well, two things I want to mention in response to what you're saying. Number one, the real estate situation. One thing that did happen since our last show is WeWork declared bankruptcy, which was predictable.
Right.
But it just shows, the momentum of the cerveza virus economy is kaput. Like there were sectors, despite all this like hemorrhaging in like the services sector, other sectors benefited. Think about the medical complex and how they've been able to
hoard labor, right?
Yeah. The tech sector, right. There was a lot of digitalization that happened with brick and mortar businesses that wouldn't have otherwise happened necessarily, because people were still conditioned and accustomed to going out in public and like frequenting these places. But that's not allowed now, so we have to like digitalize. And it was like this fabricated reason to acclimate everybody to this digital existence. And of course, commercial real estate is going to suffer in that. And WeWork was just like an opportunistic intermediary between the let's just say 2019 and before era, where office work and office life was normal and commonplace, and after that, where Zoom meetings and working remote and working from home, right, in the industries where that was like permissible and normalized, is is commonplace. So WeWork was in between that, where, hey, you want to save money by breaking your lease and just, renting this one unit of many for your remote employees to meet there if you want.
Right.
Like, that was like the intermediary step to Squatter Nation, which we've talked about before, which is a straight up like that, the whole commercial real estate market, these big, and I have a personal example.
How many hundreds of millions of square foot of property?
I visited a property, a company in North Carolina recently. It's a financial services company, and I arrived there. It's one of these, multiplex office complexes. So there were other businesses there as well, but it was huge. And when I got into the specific company I was visiting, it was glistening glass, modern design, breakout rooms, a kitchen, a front desk. Like, it was a very nice office. There was nobody there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I'm an executive and I walk through here and I see nobody in here, what am I paying this lease for?
Right.
So, that's gonna continue. It's gonna accelerate. Despite some of these companies are like, we want you back in the office. Like, there's this whole war going on.
It's part of the labor hoarding stuff that's going on. And it's like, it's all this weird, again, I think, confusion by design, chaos, order out of chaos type psychological ops that are going on with different policies, right? You've got the Fed, like, trying to supposedly pump the brakes on inflation, which is a joke. They generated the problem, and now they're trying to slay the dragon that they hatched. So they're posturing that way. Meanwhile, government spending is at, like, the rate of $5 trillion a year at the current pace it's at since they obliterated whatever debt ceiling. So it's showing more and more that it is a giant fugazi. I mean, the average person looking at this is like, wait, so they really don't have it all figured out. I thought, they were saying inflation is transitory, and now they're saying they're winning inflation, but I'm spending more and more continuously at the grocery store for repairs and services.
Right.
It's like, wait, and if I actually measure it since 2019, some stuff is up 100%.
Yeah, right.
So that's 30% a year.
I started to pay attention to, learning what the Fed was, where it came from in 2008, and I kind of got up to speed pretty quick. The situation of 2008, the subprime mortgage crisis and the financial crisis, kind of nudged me along to do that kind of brain work. But I have never since then stopped being amazed at their ability to continue to kick the can.
There's a term for it. It's one is numeromancy, right? So they're using numbers in this tricksy, deceptive, cloaked fashion to guide along basically a fugazi, a massive mafioso type Ponzi that's based on this extraordinary privilege of the world reserve currency status, but it's not based on anything. They can just print whatever they deem, according to their actuaries that they make up, what the price of money is. And it's they've already proven themselves, like, ever since their inception, they've done nothing but completely debase the currency and outsource all the industry.
But, like, this is amidst 2008. Okay, I was 21 at the time in 2008, and totally green as far as, like, being a worker in America. Right. And I can't help but want to know what this entity is all about and what it's doing. And I became astonished then that they do what you're saying, set the price of money, and that impacts the entire business cycle for every economy. And I was alarmed then, and I've been alarmed all the way to right now at the total ignorance of the public. I mean, obviously, people are wising up to it and have wisened up relative to then, but like relative to what I would have thought, I would have thought it would have been like a household conversation by now in almost every household. But it's like when they have a federal board, reserve board meeting where they make a decision, I'm like disgusted that not just the general public, but like the financial media